Well, we were discussing this before because I like this shirt, but it's got a hole in, but I'm sticking with it anyway. Yeah. But people are like, you should replace it, but I'm affectionate towards it.
We got a little thing in Wales now. It's just come out. It's called a patch, and I tell you, if I'll send you one.
You should.
They do them in black as well.
Oh, but is that just you're trying to hide? You're trying to pretend the patch isn't there?
Yeah, but you
should
just
embrace it, like get bright pink or something.
Yeah, well, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah. Like you see on these tweed jackets with a big leather patch on the bottom. I'm going to grow into one of those. I don't feel I'm ready for one yet.
Now, so do you live in Wales?
I do, yes. Yeah. I live in Machen, which is just between Newport and Caerphilly, and it's a very insular, cutchy little place, as we like to say in Wales, which I think is another word for incestuous, but I've never asked that question.
So, how is the comedy scene there?
Well, it's coming along. I mean, Cardiff has got quite a few comedy clubs. There are a few around the students' unions. There's Chapter Arts, which has been going forever. There's a new Jongler's opened. The Glee Club, which has won best comedy club in the country a few times. So,
is it all based around Cardiff? Is that the hub?
It largely is, but Newport's got a lovely new theatre which focuses on comedy called the Riverfront, and places like Brecon have got dedicated comedy venues now. So it's definitely come on in leaps and bounds over the last 5 years, thanks to what has been, a little bit of a special period, I think, for Welsh comedy with Rod Gilbert and Rob Brydon, Ellis James, Lloyd Langford. They're all, they've all sort of come through, and they're all flying the flag. So,
would you want to stay in Wales for as long as you can, or is there going to inevitably be a point
to live? You mean?
Yeah.
I could never see myself living anywhere else. I mean, everywhere's so accessible from where we are. You can get anywhere. I mean, to be honest, it takes longer to get across London on a Friday night, doesn't it, than it does to get from Machen to Hammersmith. So, it's not a major issue. But
but is there a thing where the comedy scene is just so huge down in London that some people think, well, I'm just going to have to move there?
Well, there's obviously that has been mentioned, but I don't think I'm going to succumb to it. I mean, I know too many guys who've done really well without having to uproots, and so I'm going to stay there for as long as I can on the green grass.
Now, is this your debut show at the Fringe?
Yes.
Or is it? Yes.
Yeah, I came up here in '97. I was in a competition called So You Think You're Funny. And made the final that year, but it was all pretty new to me, and I think I got overawed to the extent that I wore shorts in the final, which I felt was a really bad choice. I don't think there's ever been a really good comedian in shorts up till now, and I wasn't going to be the first. So although my legs do have comedy value, I feel, but
they didn't add that much.
They just didn't do it on the nights, no.
Didn't put it out the bag. And that was the last time you were up, was it?
Yeah, I did come up in 2001. I was up here doing a show for BBC 2W, which is a digital channel that was newly launched then, and we were doing a show called A Bit Off the Fringe, where we were going around profiling Welsh performers who were actually here, and that was great fun to do. I did that in the guise of my alter ego, Mario De Niro, a Welsh Italian. So it gives you a little bit of license, I think, when you're interviewing people. I'm taking it this is not an alter ego. This is you, isn't it, Matt?
It's completely me.
Okay.
I've tried to get an alter ego, but I can't. There's not in me.
You don't need one.
It's just me. Yeah. So why now? Why are you coming to the Fringe?
It just felt like the next logical progression. I mean, I sort of came back into stand-up. I took a little bit of a sabbatical, really, and did some work for an event management company called Torpedo down in Cardiff, and then got back into it and thought, oh yeah, this is why I liked it, and then started to do some local gigs, the Glee Club and the Wharf, which is another venue down in Cardiff, and then started to do some open spots. It was like starting over again, really. And then I'm doing some gigs at the Comedy Store now, coming up in September. I've done a few full spots up there, so it's taken a long time to get it going. And Edinburgh, I think, is the place to be, to flash the face, isn't it? So.
Oh, totally. Yes, yeah. And you're on the Free Festival, is it? Or
no, I'm over at Just the Tonic.
Just the Tonic, yeah, which is a lovely venue.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's really nice.
So which one? Because there's isn't there 3 caves?
Yeah, I'm in the cave, which is the wee room. The one. It is a wee room, but it's has nothing to do with the smell. But there is a little bit of an odour in there, I must say. But it smells like my nana's biscuit tin, I always say. But no, I'm up there, so it's great. It's lovely. It's tiered. and everything. So
they seem to look after people in there as well.
Yeah, the staff are fantastic, and I think that helps when you're seeing everyone same faces day in, day out. It's a little bit of a family feel there.
And I think because it can be such a grueling kind of month, or at least at times, that if you've got that family around you,
you just don't know what each day is going to throw at you, and things can change so quickly. I mean, I was lucky enough to do Nicholas Parsons' show a few days ago at the Pleasance, the happy hour, and I'd met Nicholas just before Christmas, and I said I'm coming up to Edinburgh, any chance of getting on? And he said, well, we'll see how it goes when you get up here. And I just happened to be sat with my PR people, Jodie and Paul, and the phone rang, and it was like, somebody's dropped out today, do you want to do it? I was just happened to be there, so within 20 minutes I'm off to do that. So that's how quickly things happen up here.
Things can just be things are flying around. It's an alternative kind of existence, I guess.
Yeah,
but you never know where you're going to be.
Absolutely right. Yeah,
you might be on a picnic bench in the meadows, freezing. with
a plate of biscuit. I'm going to pinch a biscuit.
Have a biscuit, by all means.
Hey, these are straight. There's no rich teas. We're straight in with the Jaffa cakes and the custard creams.
Now, have you done a lot of, as I remember you reading, you've done a lot of corporate work, a fair amount of that. How, because a lot of comedians, that is their worst nightmare, completely. But obviously you've maybe found a niche in that, you found a way of doing it.
Well, I think that's why I sort of eventually became a bit disenchanted with comedy, because after I was in So You Think You're Funny, I felt like everything was moving in the right direction and I was in the right places. And then with a family and a little one, there was pressure to sort of pay bills and stuff. So I was offered a few corporate gigs, and I just took them. And I sort of went down that avenue for a while, and they are pretty well paid for stand-ups. And you get into a sort of a cushy, comfortable little lifestyle, really. And I stuck with doing those for quite a few years and doing the odd comedy gig when I could manage, but I was struggling to do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at a comedy club, because invariably Thursday, Fridays are earning nights for corporates. So I think that's why really I fell out of love with stand-up, because you're talking to people who just happen to be there because they need to be there for the company too. Comedy is incidental. They don't even know there's an entertainer coming on most of the time. So you're constantly trying to find the common denominator. You're trying to appeal to a massive cross-section of people. Some people like Bill Cosby, others like Les Dawson, and there's others are like Eddie Murphy. You're just trying to appeal all things to all people, and just try and blanket bomb them with comedy, and you do tend to become a little bit more middle of the road as well. So,
whereas here you've got a specific comedy audience, and
very much so.
You know what they want.
Yeah.
Is it a bit weird though that they've seen so much comedy?
Well, I think that I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I mean, the massive bonus is everybody is sat tuned in, facing the right way, which you don't always get at a corporate, because you're talking sometimes to 300 people and you can only see a third of them because they're on round tables, and some of them don't even bother to turn around. So that, I think those gigs are as difficult as they come, and if you're getting on at 1:30, I've been on as late as about midnight with after a massive awards ceremony, and people are losing the will, and then they say, and now a bit of light relief. There's a bit of stand-up. So those are the toughest gigs, I think. And so this has been an absolute blast, because you can see the whites of people's eyes, and you can sort of really try and connect with them.
And you feel it's an honest way of. Yeah. Do you feel like that you can do the material that you really want to do as well?
Yeah, up here that I could do stuff that I certainly haven't been ever able to do on that circuit. It's just I can remember I mentioned this on Nicholas's show the other day, but I was doing one corporate gig, and it was it was a sporting type thing. They had awards all night. It was at Derby County, and they had a table of ex-Derby County players, and so they've been giving out awards. All the Derby fans are there, not necessarily the best comedy audience in the world. And there was a table of ex-players. Dave Mackay was there, who was one of the legendary Scottish footballers, probably the best Scottish footballer, which isn't difficult, but he was a decent player anyway. I sort of asked somebody who would be the best person to pick out on the table for a bit of banter, and footballers have got a notorious reputation for being Mickey takers, and I asked the wrong guy, and he said, "Oh, Dave Mackay is your man." Well, Dave Mackay is famously not got any sense of humour whatsoever. So I picked him out on this table of ex-players. It looked like the cast of Cocoon 2. And there was a trend at the time for top-line sports people to be going out with singers. There was Posh and Beckside started off, but in Wales we had Charlotte Church and Gavin Henson, there was Louise and Jamie Redknapp, there were loads of them. So I turned to Dave Mackay and said, hey, I bet that Vera Lynn was a great shag. Everybody laughed except him. He stood up, he came over the top table, he said, pass us that microphone, son. I wasn't about to argue with him. He turned round and he said to 300 people, he said, I'll have everyone in this room know that I never ever slept with Vera Lynn. And gave me the mic back. Just tumbleweed, my life was flashing before me. I waited till he got to the back of the room. I said, Dave, I'm sorry I got that wrong. It was Dorothy Squires. And he just slammed out of there, never to be seen again. And so that just typifies the kind of thing that can happen at a corporate. You're way out of your comfort zone.
So, but here, what was the name of your show?
It's Funny Turn.
Funny Turn, and it's at the Caves.
Just a tonic, Cave 620.
620. It's been a pleasure. Thanks
Absolute
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for the picnic.
Thanks for,
the cold picnic.